Good morning, everybody. This is Michelle with Creative Operation and Country Craft Creations, and I'm going to do a walkthrough of my upcoming album with you. It's called Bloom and Grow, and it is by Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Berry Fields, and I absolutely adore how this came out. I thank you so much for your patience. I've been sick and finally kind of have my voice back, so I thought I would do the walk through and share that, and then I'm going to be doing the tutorial. I have part of it done and I'll get the other part finished hopefully today, and then get the tutorial published tomorrow. But I thought I did do a quick video while I was sick and couldn't really talk, but I thought I'd go through the album today so you can see all of the features with it. So this album is a big album. It took quite a bit of product, and we'll go through that during the tutorial, but it's 10 by 10. It has a 3-inch spine and 4 loaded pages. So let's get started with this, and then I'll come back and do the tutorial. So the cover here, I really loved this kind of collagey paper, and so I decided to use that as the cover. On it, I added some flowers from my stash, and then I did use the Bloom and Grow die cut here that I got with a design team package. And again, this is from Country Craft Creations at countrycraftcreations.com. And then I backed it on some red cardstock and then bumped it up with some foam tape. I used some twine here, one of the die cuts here, and then I got the enamel dots. I just love the enamel dots. And these ones are like iridescent. They're just beautiful. So I added those in a couple of places here. This ribbon is also from Country Craft Creations, and it's kind of a burlappy ribbon, and it just fit this collection just perfectly. So that's what I did with the cover. I did use artisan cardstock in craft, and in I did use some my colors, excuse me, with the different colors, yellow, green, red, and blue from my colors, and that also comes from Country Craft Creations. So I will have a list of those products in the tutorial, okay? Or actually, I'll do it down below too, so you can see that. Anyway, so that's how I did the cover. The spine, I know it's kind of hard to see because it's so big, but I used one of the die cuts, and I did trim it a little bit and use that as part of the spine, and I used the rest of the backing paper from the back side of this for the back and for the spine. So I thought that was really pretty, and tied it all together. And then here is the back of that particular paper, and then I used one of the chipboard pieces that's also layered, and I just really love how that came out. I just think that's really pretty. So let's open this up and I'll show you what is inside. This binding is a hinge binding that I don't normally do, but we're going to go through that during the tutorial. The pages themselves are 9.5 by 9.5, and again, there's 4 of them. And like I said, this does take quite a bit of product. It is a labor of love. But it's gorgeous. This would be great for a really big family album. This would be a great recipe album. This would work for like if you did it in wedding papers. This would be a great wedding album. There's lots of places for photos, and it's big. So I hope you like it. I did think about maybe in the future downsizing it just a little bit and making it a little bit smaller, but that is not in the works at this point. That's just an idea in my head. If you think that that would be a good thing, let me know. But I mean, this album is beautiful and it's huge. So on the first part here, I layered one of the chipboard pieces with an enamel dot. I have a seam binding closure here, and this is just a simple folio. And then what I did was I put little strips of extra papers in between and created spaces for photos up here. And then I also did it down below. Okay, and used up, let me see if I can get that in a frame. I know this album is big, and that's how I did that. The butterfly, the die cuts are so you could put a photo underneath, and then these flip open. I used, there was a lot of die cuts in this collection. I just absolutely wanted to use as many as I possibly could, so I created a little pocket down here with this one, and then I added some of the leftover little ephemera pieces and tags and things, and just put a couple in there. But then there's also there's room here, there's room here, So that is that front folio. And then you have this page here. Now this is a pocket page with a waterfall. So here's a little pocket here. This is a little collection of die cuts that I put here. You have two of these 4x6 cut aparts here. I did trim them down just a little bit, and then those help close the waterfall. And I did my stacked waterfall method and just created a lot of photo places. And then underneath, I'm using the pocket two ways. So I'm using it on top of the waterfall and underneath the waterfall. I used one of the 4x4 cut aparts, and then I put a little piece of the leftover My Colors cardstock for a photo mat back there, and then there's also a photo mat back here. So then that closes up, and then these two cut aparts go in there and keep that closed. Then underneath is a giant pocket, and in that pocket is a booklet, and this is a giant booklet. It's 8x8, and so there's a lot of room. On the front, I just kind of left the cover as like a booklet cover, and then when I used scraps, so I kind of had what was left over, and that's how I decorated inside the booklets. So I used the My Colors, so you could put pictures here. The mason jars here are adhered so that you could stick a picture under there, and as is this tag here. And then I just kind of did that. On the back, again, it's the My Colors cardstock, and then you have plenty of room for photos and for journaling and things like that, and that just slips into that pocket there. On the back of this is a photo mat page. So there's nothing really going on here except for you have a nice layout to put your photos on. And I used one of the chipboard pieces here, but I adhered it so you could stick a picture underneath. And then here I used one of my punches, and I just tried to do kind of a little lacy thing to divide the two picture spaces here. Over here, we have a slider closure, and that pops out here. On the back of the slider, you have a room. If you wanted to put a photo here, you could do journaling here, you could, but that will just completely slide off. I'll show you how to make that. This is a 4x4 cut apart, so I kind of sized it to do that. And then you have a gatefold page, but this is not just a gatefold page, it's a double gatefold page. So it opens up like this, and then it opens up one more time. Okay, so underneath I did the same thing as I did the front cover. I did a little pocket here. I layered some pieces together to create a big enough little tuck pocket, and then I added some of the ephemera pieces and the cut aparts here. And then on each side, again, you have picture spaces, and these are adhered so you could tuck a little picture, you know, underneath the die cuts here. So that's how I did that. These are just like little cluster embellishments. I've kind of been into those lately, trying to use up the little die cuts and the bits and pieces that you can get with these collections. And then to close it, it's really simple. You just kind of layer these together, and then this slides over like so and creates that kind of belt or slider piece. So there's that. On the back of this page, you have half of the page is a pocket and half is a layout. And so what I ended up doing was using the same piece of paper, and then I just reversed it for half of the page here. So in this here, we have two pockets, and I did a cluster embellishment here. And then let me pull this out. There's a large tag here that I just did simply with the cardstock on one side and left it plain on the other. And then I just added a couple cut aparts and put those on here to put in this small pocket. And you can see how this is the back of this page. So that goes in here like that, and then that goes in here like that, and then you have this nice area where you could put, you know, photos or whatever. And then the album repeats. Okay, so you have the first two pages here that are loaded, and then I should have told you this too, each page is a pocket. It's a top loading pocket, and on pages 1 and 3 you have this giant 8x6 tag. Okay, and then on the second page you have a smaller 4x6 tag, and then those all repeat. Okay, and again, I used the My Colors cardstock, and I'll have a list of that stuff down below. But again, this is a pocket page, another booklet, and I'll just open that up and go through. And again, I just did scraps to decorate it after the fact to see what I had left over, and I used the strips of the My Colors for photo mats. And then I did put this here and adhered it so that you could put a photo underneath if you wanted to, or you could do journaling back there too. Another pocket, with 2 of these, and then another waterfall. Okay, so love the technique here of using the pocket 2 ways, so you can have a couple little kind of surprises down here. You can also have a photo mat back here, but then here on the bottom here, I just used the pattern paper. So I started with a strip, and I cut the top one, and then I cut 1/2-inch pieces all the way down, and then I cut the piece for the bottom pocket, so it really has that continuity of the paper. And then just did the 3/8-inch pieces from scraps to do the gussets, and it made a really nice photo opportunity. On the back of this is another photo mat page, and I used a piece of, this is natural cardstock. This is from Country Craft Creations. It's artisan cardstock for a photo mat, and layered a couple of the pieces here, and this is another one of the chipboard clusters that come with the collection. Then you have another slider piece, and I thought this really tied in together. I love how that one turned out. I think that's probably one of my favorites. So that just slides, it opens up, and then you have another double here. I did these a little bit different. Here I just used some pattern paper, created a little pocket for some of the die cut, or not die cuts, the die cut pieces. And then that opens up again. And then here I used the natural cardstock back here, but then I added little photo mats. I had some leftover paper, so I wanted to use those. And again, you can tuck a picture underneath there. And then this whole page here, this is a tag page, and I thought that made just a really pretty kind of layout, and you could put like a photo mat on there. It would look absolutely gorgeous with all the tags behind, so I thought that was really pretty. So double gatefold page again, and then you just kind of slide that over, and boom, it's closed. Then last page, and again, these all repeat, and here I used, this is one full page. The butterflies were actually on the left side of the page, but I didn't want to cover them up with the tags. So I cut the piece in half, to fit the widths here. And then I just put the butterflies over here, and I used the left side of the page over here. So I kind of reversed the page here, but I like how that turned out. Again, a small pocket. You have your die cuts here, backed on cardstock, and you have another tag. So I like how that page turned out as well. So I used some different kind of techniques to use my pattern papers. Then the back of the album, this is a gusseted pocket, so you could fill this with all kinds of stuff. And I did use 2 more tags that were 4x8. And then I made some cluster embellishments. Now, I'm going to put the link down in the tutorial. Some of these embellishments that I actually used in my previous project using this paper collection. I made a ephemera holder, and I made some ephemera to go in it, and I'll put the link down below. But I used some of those pieces that I had made to actually decorate this. So that was really fun to be able to tie in my projects together. So I did that, and I just made these cute tags. They're embellished on the front, but then they're blank on the back. You could put your photos on here. So then this is another little cluster chipboard piece, and that is the album. Again, the first and third page have giant tags, and the second and fourth page have top-loading smaller tags. And then I made 2 more tags that go into this pocket, and there's a lot of room. It's gusseted, so you could put tons of stuff in here. So that is my album. This is Simple Vintage Berry Fields by Simple Stories, and this is available at Country Craft Creations at countrycraftcreations.com. And I will be working on the rest of the tutorial, and I will get that hopefully done by tomorrow. Thank you so much for your patience. I appreciate it, and I will see you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.